So I'm Elizabeth Garrettson, and I serve as co-chairs of Agencies and Applications for Impact. I'm going to first walk you through the two-step application process that we implemented last year. Now, before we award our funds, it's really important that we have a good sense of each applicant's overall readiness to implement a $100,000 grant. This is a critical step in fulfilling our responsibility to be good stewards of all of our members' financial contributions. This two-step approach provides us with insight to the organizational and financial readiness of an agency before that agency spends a whole bunch of time and energy completing a project application. It also allows our grant reviewers to really focus on the details and merits of the proposed projects themselves. So let's look at step one, the organizational questionnaire. Agencies desiring to apply for a grant must first complete this organizational questionnaire. It is comprised largely of yes, no, and multiple choice questions, and it should really take less than an hour to complete, provided that you've already previewed the questions and the information upload requirements, and that you've pulled together any material that you need to refer to. Together with your financial data, our team will use the information to help assess each applicant agency's readiness to implement an Impact San Antonio grant. Results of this readiness review will be provided to each agency by email no later than Monday, May 10th. That's when our 2021 project application window will open. This slide shows the categories of questions you'll find on the questionnaire. Answers to these questions, which again, largely yes, no, will help us validate information such as an agency is in compliance with our grant applicant criteria, the agency has engaged board of directors, has the appropriate insurance coverage and practices in place to manage risk, that there aren't any concerns about legal or ethical compliance, and the agency has standard financial policies and governance procedures in place. It's important here to note that you'll also have an opportunity to explain any recent events. So this includes events that could indicate changes to your agency's financial situation that may not be fully reflected in your most recent financials due to timing. Information about your board of directors must be provided on the Impact San Antonio form that's accessible from your organizational questionnaire. And agency financials will again pull available financial data directly from GuideStar this year. However, in 2021, we'll also require all applicants to submit a standardized agency financial information form. And you may ask why. Well, in circumstances where the information available in GuideStar proves not adequate for any reason, we'll be able to supplement this with the information you provided on this agency financial information form. And in addition, depending on your agency's fiscal year and timing, this form may also provide more recent financial data than is available through GuideStar. Our financial review is a critical component of how we assess an agency's overall readiness to implement a grant. We look at several variables such as cash reserves, income, assets, liabilities, debt, and diversity of funds. On liquidity, do you have cash and current assets available to cover current liabilities and other short-term obligations? In terms of profitability, what's the sustainability and consistency of your revenue streams? On your balance sheet, sufficiency of reserves, we'll look at standard ratios as well. We'll look at your revenue sources. Are they diverse? And in terms of overall financial health, this will be based on all of the above financial indicators, as well as questions about financial management and governance on the organizational questionnaire. So now you've done your part. You've submitted your agency's organizational questionnaire along with the required forms. So now what? Well, a team led by Agencies and Applications will use the information that you've provided on the organizational questionnaire together with the financial information we've discussed to complete what we call a readiness review. The team will assess each applicant agency's readiness to implement an Impact San Antonio grant, and results of this review will be provided to each of you via email by Monday, May 10th. Now, most agencies will move forward to step 2 and be eligible to submit a project application. Last year, over 85% of the agencies submitted an organizational questionnaire were then eligible to submit a project application. However, if your agency does not meet our grant applicant criteria, or we identify a significant concern regarding the agency's organizational or financial readiness, we'll notify you that your agency won't be able to submit a project application this year. In terms of applicant criteria, our Impact San Antonio grant criteria are posted on our website, and it's really important that you review these before you spend time on the questionnaire. Each year, we have some agencies whose applications have to be disqualified. For applicant criteria, the most common reason has been that the agency's primary operations are not located within our service area. For readiness concerns, we really expect this to be an exception. But if we identify significant concerns regarding an agency's readiness, including financials, to implement a high impact grant, we will communicate that in the readiness assessment results. In these instances, we truly believe that an agency's time and effort will be better spent addressing those areas of opportunity in order to strengthen their overall organizational readiness. Now let's look at the project application, what we call step 2. Key application focuses on the details and impact of the specific project that you're proposing. All project applications that are submitted by the deadline will be screened for completeness, as well as for compliance with our Impact San Antonio grant criteria. Now, a note here, in terms of the grant criteria that are posted on our website, some grant criteria apply to the applicant agency and will have already been reviewed in step 1. Grant project criteria will be addressed here in step 2. Applications that are complete and compliant will then be passed on to the appropriate grant review committee based on the focused area that you, the applicant, have chosen. Our Impact San Antonio grant review teams will then review each application, focusing their evaluations on the merits of the projects being proposed. For the project application technical review, again, make sure you review our grant criteria that are posted on the website, specifically here, the project criteria. In recent years, we've made it a lot harder for an application to be submitted for the wrong dollar amount or if it was incomplete. But an issue that we still see is that the project budget submitted doesn't balance. So just make sure you double check, triple check it before you submit. While we advise that you avoid project changes, we understand that life happens and unforeseen things can occur. So if at any point after you've submitted your application, there is a change in your project, just please contact us immediately so we can work with you to figure out the best way to proceed. This graphic puts that 2-step application process in context of the overall grant timeline. You'll have until April 23rd to submit your agency's organizational questionnaire, step 1. You'll be notified of the results of the readiness review no later than May 10th. And then for those eligible, you'll have until June 4th to submit a project application in step 2. Our grant review teams will work through the summer, reviewing and evaluating all of your project proposals. We'll announce grant finalists in September and culminate the year with grant award night in October. So how do you prepare to apply? And we recognize that some of you have already started working on your questionnaires, and in fact, a couple have submitted them. But we really still like to remind folks that before you log on to Foundit and you begin entering information, please take a bit of time to prepare. We promise it will make your lives easier. Review the Impact San Antonio grant criteria on our website, preview that organizational questionnaire, and make sure you understand the upload requirements for documents. Make sure you've gathered any information and materials that you'll need to reference while completing the questionnaire, including financial data, so you've got everything within reach. That'll expedite the process.